Peace and blackness, family. Peace and blackness. This is what I wanted to see right here. This is what I wanted to see right here. Okay. Now, this is y'all Indian chief, Dane Calloway. And everybody got a reason to do what they do when it comes down to waking up their people, all right? Or trying to uplift the minds of their people. Now, I find this interesting right here, right? I find this very interesting right here. She's not like us. Now, I could have watched Dane Calloway's video, right? I can easily use Dane Calloway's video. It's public, right? You know what I'm saying? It's everything that's in the public eye can be used for critique. But I didn't use his video because, hey, you're using my likeness, you know, I want to strike him, get his video taken down, things of that nature. You know what I mean? Like, you get pissed off. People get pissed off when you don't go along with their mind states and things of that nature. But let's kick the real ballistics. Nah, Kamala Harris is not like us, but she's like Dane Calloway. She's like anybody that's claiming that they Indians. You got some people out here talking about they Niji, right? Talking about they Niji. Don't nobody have Niji on their birth certificates. Nobody has Niji. No black person in America has Niji on their birth certificates. You know what I'm saying? No one's elders, no one's grandparents, rest in power, has Niji on their death certificates. She's not like us. How is she not like you, Dane Calloway, and anybody else claiming to be an Indian, an original indigenous Indian with no African blood in them? How is she not like you? Okay. She's an Indian. All right. She's a Hindu. She's a Brahmin. You understand? And the truth of the matter is, whether they like it or not, when the Spaniards came over here, they called the people over here Indians. Can you find me any book with any authorship that states that people in America were Indians before Christopher Columbus came over on this side? Can you find any authorship, any books, any works, any literature that states people in America or any of the Americas were Indians before the Spaniards came over here? So how do you reconcile being an Indian? Why you not saying you a Cherokee in the original language? You a Seminole in the original language? You a Choctaw in the original language, right? Or any other Indian tribe out here. Or indigenous American, right? Or original Turtle Islander. Why they're not using these terms? They are specifically settling on Indian. Why? Now, how can Dane Calloway be an Indian before the Indians in India? Tell me how. Make it make sense, man. She's not like us. Does that make any sense? Does that make any sense? Give me a minute. Give me a quick minute, people. Let's peruse. Let's peruse the etymology of Indian. Let's do that. Give me a minute. Okay. So how do they try to make it be not what it is? How do they try to make it be not what it is? Dane Calloway said, don't use the term Native American. He doesn't use the term Native Americans because the white people have used it. So he settles on indigenous Indian. Okay. What does it say right here? And he's talking about she's not like us. Why are you just really isolating Kamala Harris? Huh? Why are you not opening up the field? There's a people that are not in America with the ethnicity of Indian. It don't matter if you got East Indian on there or West Indian on there. What does that mean? That has something to do with Indians from India. The term Indian, in reference to the original inhabitants of the American continent, is said to derive from Christopher Columbus. My people, what did I ask? Is there any information with the timestamp on it? Let's say 1300s. Let's say 1415. Because supposedly they didn't get here until 1492. So let's go 1478. Who was writing about any American Indians in America under the term Indian? Some say he used the term because he was convinced he had arrived in the Indies, his intended destination. Now, there's a movie out. There's a movie out. Hold on. You see that? It's a movie out, right? Following the same storyline, okay? Following the same storyline. Have y'all seen this? Right? Where they be acting like they somebody they not. They got Sigourney Weaver in there playing a Spaniard. You see what I'm saying? Dane Calloway got black people in America thinking they only Indians with no African bloodlines. Okay. When we know the original people that went into India were African, but they mixed in with people in Asia. Okay. This came out in 1992, right? And if you go in and check it out, they following the same lines. When has it changed? When has it changed? Is there any information out there that agrees with Dane Calloway that history was told in reverse? Okay. He asks, where are the slave ships and things of that nature? Right. It says here, okay, they expressed disappointment with the small amount of gold he brought back, but the queen approves of his gifts. On the second expedition, Columbus takes 17 ships and over 1,000 men with him to the island. 17 ships. All right. There's a movie on this. I'm not saying that the movie is true. I'm just saying it's following the same narrative, though. Who are the Indians? Right? Who are the Indians? Who are the Indians for real? You feel me? Give me a moment. You see, they don't have the same skin color. Oh, they are the color of the skin is different. She's not copper. The definition is not about skin complexion. Because in 1492, the Indians in India, they was Indians. They was Indians. So, but where's the information in America instead of y'all making things up? Where is the definition of y'all that Indians are kinky-haired people in America originally? I'm not talking about one or two authors who want to use abstract thinking and reasoning. I'm talking about the whole consensus of history in America is reflective of kinky-haired, copper-colored, dark-skinned people in America, misnomer Negroes with kinky hair. We haven't seen it yet. They have not showed. Real talk with Tim and Phoebe. You know, they find one or two pictures, questionable pictures and things of that nature, right? And say, this is the sole representation of America. It'd be one person. Oh, look, this one person got on Indian garb. This is the whole total representation of America, of the original people in America. When some information, some authors, some literature in America that says these American Native Americans, American natives, original people in America had slaves. That Black people and indigenous Americans been mixing since people started coming into these lands. If you're an original, right? If you're an original, if Black people are the originals in America, you know, they even saying original Black people in America went over to Africa and civilized Africa. Why is it? Because see, that's the catch. That's how he trying to hook you. They told history in reverse. And so you spinning your wheels trying to really go find if history is written in reverse, and you don't find that information. Dane Calloway been putting this information out since 2015, right? And there has not been any precise information yet from him or his Indian followers to show accurately with proper chronology and historicity that his people is the original people on the planet in America and went everywhere else and cultivated those cultures, those peoples around the globe, around the world. Which brings me to this, right? Because hey, some younger people may not be able to wrap their heads around it. But people like in my generation, born in the 70s, right, should easily see that this is some bullshit, right? Hold on. No, let's go ahead and share this. Because I'm gonna show you how this shit changes. I'm gonna show you how this shit changes. Now look, that's the write-up. Okay. Now, depends on how you search this. Dane Calloway's write-up can be first. Okay. So information is being added. This note addresses the history of Native Americans as slave owners and its lingering effects on Black members of some Native American tribes. All right, that's already starting like that. Okay. But they change, it's in reverse, right? So we gotta think there's a whole plot. When the white immigrants came over here, it was a whole plot. The immigrant that landed in New York had the same mind of the immigrant that landed in Virginia, and they said, hey, we gonna, even though they never seen each other, oh, we gotta wait till the 1800s. But they all agreed that history was we're gonna reverse history and tell them that it's straight haired people that look like Kamala Harris. They the original Indians, and not let them know that the nappy-headed ones, right, are the true Indians. That's what we gonna do. They all did that. All the universities, right? All their great authors in America settled upon that. The Black Americans suing to reclaim their Native American history. You see? All this information still talking about slavery. But we're going to go to Dane Calloway's write-up because he wrote the truth, okay? He wrote the truth. Okay? Black Indians in the United States. What is a Black Indian? Wouldn't a Black Indian have African ancestry? Is that the Black on there is African? No. Yay. Black on there mean American Indian. Indian. We need to be talking about the Negroes in America that have no African ancestry. Let's keep going. Boom. Okay. 2019. Okay. This write-up right here, The Plight of the Nappy-Headed Indians, 2004. University of Michigan Law School Scholarship Repository. All right. Now, we done got a couple of sites on here talking about slaves and Native Americans or American Indians. Okay. We gave you the definition. We didn't give you the whole definition. We're going to go back into that. Matter of fact, let me set that up before I forget. All right, and let me do one more thing right quick. Ask a question. All right, let's bounce back. Okay, so let's go into y'all Chiefs right up. Okay, this National Museum of the American Indian. Okay, that might be good too. Do we have a date on that? Matter of fact, let's go into this first. Amber Starks, aka Melanin Muskogee. I think I've seen this before. Okay. Black natives exist. We are indigenous peoples of what is currently known as the Americas and the Caribbean, and we are also the descendants of indigenous peoples of Africa. Shut that down. Shut you down right there, Dane Calloway. Okay, this identity often includes freedmen, the freemen and women who were once enslaved by citizens of the 5 tribes: Cherokee, Chickasaw, Creek, Seminole, and Choctaw. Y'all reading it. Y'all already read this, man. You know what I'm saying? And y'all are, I know some of y'all see this already. Y'all seen this already. And their descendants. Black natives and freedmen are the legacy of our Black and Native ancestors. We are the personifications of their joy, pain, resistance, and endurance. And it's Black, because of our Black and Native ancestors' hope and resilience, that we are still here. Now, what is a Black Indian? In the case of this write-up, right? Okay. Now, there's no doubt that there's dark-skinned Indians and dark-skinned people in America that the white man would have said that's, or a Spaniard, right, would have said Negro. It wouldn't have said Black. It would have said Negro. Okay. Negroes dark, right? But you got Black people in America who were enslaved by Native Americans, American Indians, indigenous peoples of Americas, whatever you want to term you want to use, that has no connection to the colonial white slavery. That's a Black Indian by what this person is saying. They were not enslaved or connected to the colonial aspect, the white immigrant side of American slavery. They were under American Indians. Do you get that? So in the case of these people that were enslaved by Indians, they wouldn't have called themselves, in a sense, just Negro, right? They would have been Cherokee, Chickasaw, Creek, Seminole, or Choctaw. Yeah, the misnomer Negro is there, but these people would have known that, okay? And these people do not consist of the mass of Black people in America, because there's Black people here as well. Well, all Black people in America come from fucking Africa. Y'all need to cut that. Right? Y'all need to cut that out. So in a sense, it's two type of Black minds in here in America. You know, the Caribbean got a lot to do with it as well, but just in America, you got Black people who was enslaved by American Indians, and you got Black people that was enslaved by white people. But has it been proven that all people, original people in America, are nappy-headed, kinky-haired people? No. And why would you even diss the forces in nature like that? Y'all literally going against science, which is ignorant. Y'all are literally going against science to prove a point. All right, so let's you already see what Amber Starks, Melanie Muskogee said, what the sister said, you know what I'm saying, what Black Indians are. Okay, because Dane Calloway, he's a new tribe of Indian, right? He's a new tribe of Indian. He's an Indian that has no African blood at all, so he says. So let's get these facts from Dane Calloway. He wrote this in 2019. It should be still relevant. 5 years ago. 98% of African Americans are in fact Native Indians. He said are in fact Native Indians. Okay. So when you put Native Indians like that, right? If you ask anybody outside of Black people, they would say that you're talking about Hindus. Okay. Also putting this here, you're saying that the Negro in America, as you say, is the original Indian and the Hindus came second. Right? But if you look at the definition, why is he going against the definition? He didn't even write the definition. Dane Calloway wasn't even born when the definition came out. Indian, adjective. Inhabit of India or South Asia pertaining to India. And you got dumb, ignorant people saying, well, India didn't come until 1975, or it was called Hindustan, and woo. So they saying Indian came out of America, but they put the term India on a country outside of America. Does that make any fucking sense? Because wouldn't America be called Indian? You get some people that are saying America is the original India. When the people in India do not predate Africans. Even using the term Indian is not more ancient than the people that's claiming to be Africans or real Africans. Indians do not predate Africans. Cut it out. The Indian language does not predate any African languages. Cut it out. See, y'all really on demon time for real, man. Right? Because we really talking about the people with the strongest immune systems out here. You feel what I'm saying? You claiming to be Indian for what purpose and for what reason? Nigga, you trying to be cute, nigga? You see what I'm saying? Hey, inhabitants of India, South Asia, pertaining to India, 1300s. Go back to the 1300s. What was it like? Did these people in the 1300s know about any American Indians? You go to Christopher, why would they shoot themselves in the foot? We were ignorant of the West. Why would they do that to themselves? If they knew about the West and the American Indians, they would have said, hey, we want to go over there and colonize America with them Indians. Nah, they don't say that. His writings don't say that, and the movie doesn't say that. They didn't know what was over here. they thought they was going to India. Why did they know about India? There's another movie you can watch. All right. It's just you know, reference points. You don't have to believe in it. Here's another movie though. That's good. Let's see if I got the right one. Yeah. Wow. Alexander the Great. Okay. Let's see. It's 2004. I want to see the time, the plot. 285 BC. 285 BC. Okay. That's way before 1492. Wouldn't you agree? Okay. And it tells you about his campaign. I want to see, because 285 BC. I want to see if they say it in here. If you've seen this, you know that. Okay, there it is. After initial objection from his soldiers, Alexander convinces them to join him in his final and bloodiest battle, the Battle of Hydaspes. Okay, you see that? 326. It took place on the banks of the Hydaspes River in what is now the Punjab province of Pakistan, as part of Alexander's Indian campaign. Okay, if you've seen the movie, you know he was in Punjabi. Okay, he is severely injured with an arrow but survives and is celebrated. Later on, Hephaestion succumbs to typhus. Okay, carried with him from India and dies. What did I put that in there? To BC, right? It that predates the definition. Okay, so they was calling them Indians back then, right? Or you could say, hey, the modern times, they still Indians before the American Indians. All right. They was known about before any American peoples was known about. See, India. Okay. Applied. Come on, man. Applied to, not original, given to, also slapped on as well. You know what I'm saying? Also, we think these people are applied to the Aboriginal native inhabitants of the Americas. Okay, so with that being the Aboriginal native inhabitants of the Americas, you don't have to put Indian on there, or you don't even have to, you see what I'm saying? From at least 1553. 1553. So I asked the question, do we have any literature from the 1300s that say Indians were in America? Obviously not. If it was this term as an adjective and a noun was used in 1553. Reflecting Spanish and Portuguese use. Christopher Columbus and his folks, Spaniards, right, on the mistaken notion that America was the eastern end of Asia. So, you know, I can understand the political aspect of this, right? Oh, when you say you're black, you know, you're not human by law and things of that nature. Or when you say you're from Africa, right? These are not your lands, and they can continue to abuse and mistreat us, you know what I'm saying, by their laws. I disagree with that. I disagree with that. The name that we call ourselves, you know, we have to give it value. We have to be a valuable people. Okay. We have to be a valuable people. We've succumbed to their thinking, their propaganda, and their rhetoric. So even when you tell yourself you're black, you know, and what Black culture is. We know we got a culture in America, right? But it's always been culture in America. Where have Black people been, or Black Indians, okay, in mass? Did they have more, or is the ideals and the perspective that did they have more than the white people who had the money? Nah, that we didn't have more. When it comes down to fashion, did we outdress later on when we got money? Like, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, we always we everything. But what I'm saying is, okay, niggas going to Ross, niggas going to Burlington Coat Factory, versus going to go get them real name brands. You see what I'm saying? Going to Polo, not Polo and Nordstrom's Rack, not Polo and Macy's. Even though you go get the Polo there, you going to the real spot. Whatever brand name y'all people rocking right now, you're not going to get the knockoff. You're going to get the real shit. I'm saying apply that all the way back. So Black people's culture, right? Does it ooze power? Does the culture of Black people, you know what I'm saying, and the way we do things, if we used a rapper as an example, right? Because all of us is dressing because of how rappers dress. Seriously. Okay. You know, in the 80s, it wasn't a lot of Black people in suits when it comes down to fashion. Wasn't a lot of Black people in slacks in button-up shirts when it comes down to fashion, unless you had a little bit of money and you was around the people where you needed to dress like that. But in mass, Black people dress like rappers. They call it urban fashion. It's not urban fashion. It's rapper fashion. And then the style morphed after that. If you was into spoken word, or you was in the conscious circle, you understand what I'm saying? If you was a dancer back in the day, you know what I'm saying? If you came out of the conscious 90s era, you understand that brothers and sisters was rocking African medallions. Dane Calloway might be old enough to go back to that era. You know what people wasn't rocking though? The American continent. Now you might have got some of it sometimes, but the American continent had red, black, and green in it. I'm talking about going back to the leather medallions with the Africa on it. Hey man, so when X-Clan came out, they was like, we gonna make y'all Africans. They was a part of the plot too. When Brand Nubian came out, they was a part of the plot too. You know what I'm saying? Anybody else you want to think about? I can name a lot of people. I'm a true hip hop head. I can name a lot of people, but when these brothers, Def Jam and all that, when the Soul Brothers and all Big Daddy Kane, who was saying back then, we Indians. Hey, check this out, man. Like when. Oh, you thought we wasn't gonna get back to Dane Calloway? Yo, we gonna get back to Dane Calloway. I'm just talking my shit. When has Black people come out in mass? Like they saying now, I'm Indian and I'm proud. Man, James Brown said that. I'm Black and I'm proud. Y'all trying to say our people stupid. They don't know who they are and they identities. No matter what you say, you're gonna be opposite of the ghost race. No matter what you call yourself, you're going to be opposite of the ghost race. That's what this is all about. I look like this and you look like that. Because you look like that, you're inferior to me. So I should enslave you and colonize you, change your mind, slap you with Christianity, take your language, take your name, take your land, and do all of that to you because we think God made you guys ignorant. We think God made you guys inferior to us because we know Jesus Christ. Okay, so when you say indigenous, okay, indigenous means they don't know Jesus Christ. Oh, but the Bible said, no, that's not a original history book. We gotta be in reality now, man. The Spaniard brought Jesus Christ. 1492 Andalusia, 1492. Oh, here go another movie you can check out right quick. Let's see if I can bring it up. No, I don't want to go there. Gotta hit it like this. Here go another movie you can check out. Boom. Now I use movies for references. We know they're not putting real people in the movies. Okay. Order of the Assassin, Spanish Inquisition. Okay. Who swore to protect the apple of Eden, right? Plot, 1492, Andalusia during the Granada War. Okay, this is about the Templars and the Assassins. And you know the Assassins was with the Muslims, was with the Moors. Okay. And this is going on while Christopher Columbus is selling over here. You see? Let's get to it. Let's get to it. Boom. Boom. Okay. So, do my dude on the right look like got the same skin complexion as Kamala Harris? The same, but is his skin complexion and Kyrie Irving's skin complexion the same? Y'all giving up your power, man. I don't know why, but let's go down. So this guy, since he put this out, 385 shares. I wonder why he ain't sharing that. Dane Calloway, I'm just you think. Now look, I found this sister. This sister considers herself a Black Indian. He used this picture, like I'm gonna continue to use his picture and his stuff without speaking to this person, right? Without no reference to no name, no tribe, nothing. Let's read. Let's read, because this is accurate. This is accurate history right here. This is your American Indian chief. Can't put Black on his name because he's not from Africa. This is your native Indian chief. The tens of millions of Black Americans, or rather Indians. It'd be funny. I hear his voice when he say "or rather," right? The tens of millions of Black Americans, or rather Indians, who disappeared after 1492, did not all die in the Holocaust inflicted within America. The tens of millions of Blacks who disappeared after 1492, he said tens of millions. And then hundreds of thousands were shipped to Europe and Africa as Indian slaves. Okay, so check this out. Where are the ships in America, right, that shipped hundreds of thousands of people, okay, to Europe and Africa? But that's way more ignorant than stating that tens of millions of Black people, Africans from Europe and Africa, weren't shipped over here. You see what he just changed it. He just changed it. That's all he did. He replaced it. There's no, oh, come on, man. Come on, man. You're an idiot, man. You're an absolute idiot for writing this. Hundreds and thousands of Black Americans, rather Indians, were shipped. Tens of millions disappeared, but hundreds and thousands were shipped over there. That is not correct at all. But then you state, where are the slave ships in America that shipped millions of Africans over into America? Come on, man. Don't you think you need to explain who built the ships that take hundreds and thousands of Indians over to Europe and Africa? Where's those ships at? What are the names of those ships? What are the names of those ships that took hundreds and thousands of Black Americans, rather Indians, over to Europe and Africa as Indian slaves? Come on, man. After all that stuff you talking, all them videos you making, yeah, you might fall into some proper points. You still Black, nigga. You know what happened in America to us. You're gonna fall into some proper points. But when you apply in India, and I'm an Indian and I don't have no African ancestry, nigga, you a fool. Stop playing. Stop playing. You really hating on the ancestors. You see what I'm saying? You really hating on the ancestors to think the Spaniards came over here and disturbed your family. Who is your family that ain't got no African connection? Then you should be able to tell us the whole gig, right? You shouldn't be lost in the sauce. You shouldn't be lost in the muck and mire because you was never colonized by the white man. You was always with your people. Or they kidnapped you, kidnapped all your people, made you Negroes. You in the same box we in, right? But you telling us we Indians. You know that for a fact. And you can't even go back and tell us what tribe you came from originally. The whole slave trade story was given to us in reverse. You see? He just told you what he did. He reversed it. He reversed it back. You see? And y'all fell for it. Y'all fell for the okie doke. Because Dane Calloway, before go back to, I don't know if you can find it now. You know what I'm saying? Look, I did a video on Dane Calloway when I first heard his perspective. I caught one of his videos. You can go look at my channel right now. I've since changed the title, right? I dropped his name on it. But see, I didn't know Dane Calloway at the time, right? I didn't know Dane Calloway's shift, right? I seen one of his videos and I dropped a video on him. And basically what I was saying, if that man says that he is that, right? What's the problem with him saying that? You understand what I'm saying? But then it started going into, we the original people of America, we don't have no African ancestry and all that. That video did numbers. It's one of my highest gross videos right now. Why has my videos, you know what I'm saying? When you start going against the wave, that plus consistency. I'm not consistent with my videos enough for my numbers to go up. I don't care about that. I really don't care about that, right? You know what I'm saying? But yeah, it did numbers. And then I went to go check his first video, and I was like, this shit don't make no sense. Right? It don't make no sense. It literally doesn't make no sense, his first video, to explain this right here. 98% of African Americans. Let's continue to go on. Anybody who believes this to me is ignorant. A mass colony of Africans were not shipped from Africa to America. The truth is that Black Indians were shipped from America to Europe. No Africans were shipped to America in slavery. The truth is, though, that Black Indians were shipped, so it ain't even no Africa at all. With that, he cutting Africa out of there. The transatlantic slave trade, that's out of there. Oh, the transatlantic slave trade in reverse. All right. They were then shipped from Spain, so they went to Europe. They were then, right? So where in Europe did they go? Because when you say then, that means that they stopped somewhere, right? They stopped somewhere and then went somewhere else. When you say and then, right? Were then shipped from Spain to Africa as commodity for African resources. So here, don't get lost in the sauce. Hundreds of thousands of Black Indians were shipped to Europe, right? And then to Spain, okay? So this must have been after 1492, right? So is that accurate history for Andalusia in 1492 and the battle between the Moors and the Christians? Is there history in Spain that says in 1492 or then after, Black Indians? Now, there were some Indians that were shipped to Europe, right, by the Spaniards. You see what I'm saying? But in Spaniard history, in the Inquisition, the Reconquista, do they talk about any Americans coming over here or Black Indians? No. These Black Indians now mistaken as African Americans. Why would they be mistaken as African Americans? Oh, they came out of Africa. The whole group went to Spain and then went to Africa. The same group. These Black in the same group. So who there was no Africans in Africa? I mean, come on, man. Come on, man. And shipped back to America and classified as African slaves. They were classified as African slaves. So they did not know their land when they came back. Okay. They had already given up their tongues, no schools though. They was speaking the same languages, and when they came back to America, they didn't know where they was at. I mean, how they know they was reclassified as African slaves? How did they know? This part of our history is what the school systems fail to mention in history programs, right? Every European nation that colonized North America utilized Indian slaves for construction, plantations, and mining on North American continent, but more frequently in their outposts in the Caribbean and in the metropolis of Europe. There's no doubt that there were Indians, slaves for construction, plantations, and mining, right? Let's get some information on that, bro. There's no number one reference, hey, refer to. So you're making this shit up. You see what I'm saying? Who else said this, Dane Calloway? All historians note that nowhere is there more authentic documentation than in South Carolina, also known as the original English colony of Carolina. If you go to South Carolina, there's some Africans there too. Right? Ain't no mass black Indian push though. Also known as the original English colony of Carolina, right? So you're dealing with white in servitude, the white side, not the Indian side. So now you connecting yourself to African Americans. You see what I'm saying? Established in 1670. It is estimated that between 1650 and 1730, at least 50,000 Indians, and likely more due to transactions hidden to avoid paying government tariffs and taxes, were exported by the English alone to their Caribbean outposts. So we got hundreds of thousands shipped to Europe, Spain, Africa, that came back as African slaves, right? Then we got 50,000 Indians that went to the Caribbean. Okay, keep breaking it down. Between 1670 and 1717, far more Indians were exported than Africans were imported. But he didn't give us no references. In southern coastal regions, entire tribes were exterminated through slavery compared to disease or war. In a law passed in 1704, Indian slaves were conscripted to fight in wars for the colony long before the American Revolution. Who are these people? And as you can see, it could be some people in there that could be classified as Negro. But there's some people in here that we would say are not African American. Just because they got dark skin don't mean they all can be claimed African American or mixed in with the African American. We know the difference. We know the difference. You know what I'm saying? Indians found themselves between colonial strategies for power and economic control. Let me go down more. In another instance of Indian and colonial complicity in the slave trade, the British had established ties with the Chickasaw, who were surrounded by enemies on all sides in Georgia. They conducted extensive slave raids in the lower Mississippi Valley, where the French had a foothold, which they sold to the English as a way to reduce Indian populations and keep the French from arming them first. Ironically, the English also saw it as a more effective way to civilize them compared to the efforts of the French missionaries. Makes no sense because there's no references. Okay. There's another picture of a representation, a likeness of what Indians look like. And we don't know who this person is. We don't know who this elder is. Okay. Now, there's another sister. This sister right here is living. Matter of fact, stop playing. Like I don't be on my shit. Let me see if I got a name. Right. I hope I might have it right. If I still remember her name. Yeah, there you go. I ain't slipping. You see that right there? You see her? That's the sister that Dane Calloway used. Do you see her name? She's still living. Do you see her name anywhere? That means Dane Calloway didn't even know this sister right here. He's using this pic to let you know that everything he said is true, which is not true. I'm going to tell you why it's not true. Okay? Using her pic, using the sister's pic, she does not what it means to be African American and American Indian. That's what she said. That's what she said. It's a flying here. Shit, it didn't get on my fucking nerves. Right? So this all her. So how come Dane Calloway ain't got in contact with his sister? When you think he would do that, how come Real Talk with Tim and Phoebe, they ain't got in touch with his sister? You know what I'm saying? She obviously know who she is. She obviously know who she is. At least that's what Dane Calloway is saying. Wow, he about to get smashed. What a guy, you know, on nerves. At least that's what Dane Calloway is saying. That she is the representation of what all Indians in America look like. She said she has no African blood in her. And she did not say that. She did not say that. Okay. As the Indian slave trade gave way to the African slave trade by the late 1700s, look what he did. As the Indian slave trade gave way to the African slave trade by the late 1700s. So he said it was an African slave trade, right? Native American women began to intermarry with imported Africans. But you said the whole slave trade story was given to us all in reverse. A mass colony of Africans were not shipped from Africa to America. But then you said it was an African slave trade. So which one is it? Which one is it? And so that's why you got sisters like this. Okay. And matter of fact, I know where Dane Calloway took this picture from. I found out where he took this picture from. And there's no information saying that this sister right here is only an Indian with no African ancestry. Where he got it from, it don't say that at all. Right? Man, we ain't got no time for these fools, man. Right. When she's still living, you can holler at her and get you some traditions. Because what she doing, you definitely not doing. How she representing, you definitely not representing. You see what I'm saying? I suggest you buy her book. You should go get her book instead of us reading your books. I know in your books, if this is how you write, you got a gang of false information in there. Nobody using your books to tell the truth. Nobody is using your books at all, Dane Calloway. Anybody got Dane Calloway's book? Can you put some pages up? Or, you know what I'm saying? Can you hit me up? Let me see some pages. I'm not buying books that got false information in it. Just to I represent the brother, man. Nah, man. She got to be referenced up, and I'm sure it's not. As the Indian slave trade gave way to the African slave trade by the late 1700s, by then over 300 years old, Native American women began to intermarry with imported Africans. What about Native American men and African women? They brought women over here, but produced mixed race offspring whose native identities became obscured through time. So what would they be called right there? Dane Calloway, what would them people be called right there? Because remember, you said they was already being called Africans. So you said the original Black Indians that came back in here was called Africans. And then right here, you're saying Native American. Native American women. Okay. You said Native, well, you didn't say Native American right there. So are Native Indians and Native Americans the same? You said they wasn't, bro. That's another contradiction. And trust me, Dane Calloway, I ain't looking at your shit like that. When I seen this, I said, man, come on. You gotta deal with intelligence, bro. You said Native American women right here. How come you didn't say Native Indian women? Right? Began to intermarry with imported Africans, produced mixed race offspring whose native identities became obscured through time in the Colonial Project to eliminate the landscape of Indians. In the Colonial Project to eliminate the landscape of Indians, changing their identities, these mixed race people simply became known as colored people through bureaucratic erasure in public records. Everywhere? Because you didn't tell us where this is happening, the bureaucratic erasure in public records. Where did that happen at? In the Colonial Project to eliminate the landscape of Indians. See, you got Indians right here again, but who are the Native American women? You see? But you said you don't use Native American because the Native Americans are the white people that took the Native American term. In some cases, in such cases as in Virginia, so you saying, see, when you say in some cases such as in Virginia, there's other colonies that was a part of the bureaucratic erasure in public records. Even when people were designated as Indians on birth or death certificates or other public records, their records were changed to reflect color. So you had birth certificates and death certificates that originally said by a doctor, right, that you were an Indian only, not a Native American, you're an Indian. But then did the birth certificates change later on to reflect color? Or are you saying that there are some birth certificates prior to, I guess you're mentioning Walter Plecker, that said Indian on it, and then after Walter Plecker, the descendants whose name was obscure, that became colored? So, Dane Calloway, do you have any of your family's death certificates or birth certificates prior to Walter Plecker, because you're indigenous, that says Indian on it, and then your shit say Negro or colored? Can we see that? Right? But you throwing yourself into the African American thing. You saying your people was enslaved if you can't produce that, right? You saying your people, if you can't produce that, they weren't enslaved. Come on, man, right here, right here, right here. That don't look like nappy hair to me. That look like you put that up there because of the dark skin, but that don't look like, right? I'm saying if you cut his hair down, you know, everybody can try to rock the long hair. You got females out here like Phoenix Moon acting like she got long braided hair. That's a weave, a wig, or a lace front. Come on, man. I'm talking about when you cut that hair down, man. Let that mug grow to an inch or half an inch. Is the hair gonna be bushy or is it gonna be straight? Y'all understand what straight is, right? His hair. If this is hair right here, okay, that shit is straight, right? That shit is straight. So how you go from that to goddamn nappy head without an African woman? You see what I'm saying? So they go African ancestry. He already said his African ancestry. He said he got none. Okay. Mixed people. These are mixed people. Okay. The result is that today there is a population of people of Native Americans. He did it again. The result is that today there is a population of people of Native American heritage and identity, particularly in the Northeast, who are not recognized by society at large, sharing similar circumstances with the freedmen of the Cherokee and other 5 civilized tribes, as documented on the Dawes Rolls cards by the United States Dawes Rolls Administration. Okay, I know this brother right here. Okay, I know this brother right here on the left. This is one of my Nuwaubian brothers. So you used another picture, and I'm sure you didn't get at this brother. Right. Now it's been a lot of time. We are up in age. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if the brother is still living or not. You feel what I'm saying? But I know this brother. I used to talk to this brother on the phone on a constant basis because this is my Nuwaubian brother, Noble Pa, right? No doubt. He's always reflected like this, but also connected himself to Africa. Okay. There's no reason for him to solely be into, although there is an American Indian side and the tenets of Nuwaubu brought by Dr. Malachi York. And y'all flunkies out there acting like he can't be a real chief. He can't be a real chief. He brought constitutions, everything. He brought everything that you jokers need in order to build up. None of y'all have any Native American Indian seals, flags, paperwork, tribal guard, you know, OCO and Halito, and you know what I'm saying? Come on, man. That is just like saying, hey, hello, right? But because I said OCO and Halito, you know, I'm a real come on, man. You know, you got to be a little lighthearted on this, man. You know what I mean? Native American Indian tribes have been awarded nearly $1 billion in a historical settlement in early September 2015. Okay. The United States government was very fearful that more Native Indians, also known as colored, Negro, and Black. So who are the American Indians, the Native Americans? Who are they? Also known as colored, Negro, Black, or blank, meaning no race, mentioned on their birth certificates. I've never seen a birth certificate, or when you say blank, is they didn't fill it in. Oh, okay. If that's what you mean, you know, but you're a race. There, oh, come on, man. We'll discover, okay, we'll discover, oh, that they were fearful that the Native Indians, the Negroes, the Blacks, the African Americans, remember, the Africans will discover their true history and bloodline heritage, and that they will be forced to grant them all reparations and land. If we seen this girl in the neighborhood, what would we call her? Okay. She got native strong African American. But what would we call her? We wouldn't be calling her Indian. Now her name could be India. We do that. But we wouldn't be calling her Indian. We would be calling her Black. So that's some more bullshit that Dane Calloway came with. Oh, they made y'all Black and woo, woo, woo. Are we confused about who we are? Do we identify, will we say she's Black because we know what Black is, or would we say she's Black because of what the government mislabeled her? That sounds dumb. If that's what you think, that sounds dumb, right? That's it. Starting your journey of finding your family's tribe, right? Find your tribe and get your money, but you need help. You don't know where to look, what to have, or what to do next. Don't worry. Do not worry any further. I have done all the sub research myself from front to back with no help. So I will make things a bit easier for you to manage. Okay. And then they asking for money. Let's click here and see what this is. Pop up. Uh-oh. He's not assisting the people no more. Dane Calloway is not here to make us think no more. I'm sure it take a little money to register a website, you know. But if it's easier to just you know, do videos, like why pay attention to this? You see what I'm saying? So obviously, I guess I can't find my tribe either. All right. So has anybody who read this, because 300 and somebody people, 385 people posted this, I guess, on Pinterest, who found out who their tribe was and got their money? Who got their money? Did any Black Indian out there get their money? Now, I said in the beginning, this is not the diss Dane Calloway, but Dane Calloway be snapping. Y'all niggas act like that nigga don't be snapping. He snapped on Judge Joe Brown, the elder, for no reason, trying to prove his point, talking about the know nothings and stuff like that, where he contradicted, played it himself again. Man, we got African blood in us in America, man. You cannot deny that, man. That's where all the rhythms is coming from. Nobody getting down with no Indian rhythms. Y'all niggas ain't out here playing the one drum, boom, 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 boom. Y'all not doing that. You know what I'm saying? Y'all not doing that. Y'all on the djembe drum. Where the djembe drum. What you gonna play, the tum tum or the djembe drum? That's all African. That's not Indian at all. That's the djembe is all African. We prefer to hear that bass. You know, what we need to understand that these people came after us. And I can show you exactly what I mean. Give me a minute so I can end it with a little bit of this knowledge. Right. Hold on. Is it gonna be? Give me a moment. Just setting that up for you. Cool. So what I need is my chart. There we go. I'm getting to it. I'm getting to it. Bam. All right. Here we go. There we go. All right. My bad. But I'm going to produce this info out. Okay. Boom. 9 signs. This is the chart on human beings. All right. This is time records. Okay. I'm not going to get into the whole thing. Just pay attention to the left side. I don't want to get into the right side because this is abstract thinking to some people. They can't get with this wave. I've learned this after studying science for a long time and then giving it to the people. Some of this be over the people's heads, right? They can't think back that far and they're not trying to. So let's just pay attention to the left side, right? So the first race is the Ethiopian race. We're on top, right? Phoenician. Next. You got to go back in history and pay attention. Mixed race. Minglese in this information means mixed race. So these two mixed over time. Okay. Which came into what is called the Indian race. So no matter what Dane Calloway is saying, you understand? No matter what Dane Calloway is saying, what I'm saying in regards to Dane Calloway, put the Indian race on top of the Ethiopian race. Okay. Then you will really be telling the truth of what you're saying. It would make more sense because you would be all over. There wouldn't be no Africans that we would be concerned about. It would be Indians, really. But what you told in your write-up is fiction, is imaginary. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, I don't want to get no copyright strike. I just got to play this. Because this is what's making me think about it for real. Is this write-up. Nah, you know what? I'm not even gonna play it. It's probably not gonna hit right, and you know, it won't hit as hard as I want to. So, but what I'm thinking about is imaginary players by Jay-Z. That's my shit. I can hear. You can hear it. If you know about that track, you can hear it. Ain't even gotta play it. You can hear it. You know, it's doom, 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 doom. You know what I'm saying? Ogre on the background and kicking that. If that's a sample or whatever, you know, that just little jazzy little voice she got in the background. Yeah, man. So with that being said, how many of y'all think this is true? You let me know down in the comments. You know, how do you feel about this write-up? Even though I put my own little spin, I didn't mean to take up so much of your time. You know, even though I put my little spin on it. But do y'all think that the followers of Dane Calloway's new Indian tribe, do y'all think this is true information, or do you think it's just made up, you know what I'm saying, to receive donations and fill the collection plate down the line? This is Grand Kuwsh. Like and subscribe, my bad. And until then, y'all hold it down, be safe, and stay cool. Black power, black peace, black prosperity to you.